Baruch atah Asherah anat melecha ha'olam asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatif latzitzit. Hey. Hello. Hello, Zaxry. How are you? What are you up to? What brings you here? Thanks, Batya. I appreciate that. I look like Jesus. That's quite an analogy. I suppose Jesus was a fairly effeminate man. All that kindness and caring, respect for the poor. I don't know if I respect the poor. Could do more. So, today, we are going to say the Shema in the Vahafta. And we'll read from a new myth from ancient Mesopotamia, one that I've not read before. What an excellent emoji, Isaiah! I like hamsas. I didn't know that was native to TikTok. That's great. And maybe we'll sing an Edward Sharpe song. And we'll say Arati and Kaddish. And we'll conclude. It's rainy today. I don't know if you can see how dark it is in my room. I should probably turn on some light, maybe. Does that make it any better? Hard to say. So, the word Shema means listen. So we can listen. Shema Yisrael Asher Eloheinu Yahweh Echad. Vahafta et anat Elohecha ובכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והחיוך הדברים האלה אשר נוחים מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. וחיה, כי כי יביאך יהוה אלוהיך אל הארץ אשר נשבע לבתיך לאברהם יצחק וליעקב לתת לך ערים גדולות וטובות אשר לא בנית ובתים מלאים כל טובה אשר לא מילאת וברות הטובים אשר לא עשת והכרמים וזיתים אשר לא נתת והלכת ושבת הישמר לך פן תשכח את יהוה אשר תישך מארץ מצרים מבית עבדים. I'm glad I bring you calmness, Erica. Hebrew. Denise was right. It's Hebrew. Answer! Isaiah demands I answer whether or not I support the Illuminati. They do not exist. So I do not support them because you cannot support something that does not exist. But I support you. Try to, anyway. Or I try to bring you so much calmness, perhaps. I guess that's my function right now. I am the bringer of calm. It's a pretty good function to have. I feel pretty lucky to have a function like that. I have a very nice cat. Hello. You got the big sads today. You're very welcome, Paper in the Wind. Shabbat Shalom. Yes, I will be cooking Shabbat dinner tonight for my family. We're going to have mashed potatoes and bread and hard-boiled eggs and kale and lentils. That's what's for dinner tonight. Yes, indeed. Shabbat Shalom. You want to go to New York City so bad? Why? What's in New York City? So, today, how do I make the lentils? You boil them. Like, I tend to make plain beans, which is, like, terribly boring. Sometimes I'll spend a long time, adding flavor to the legumes. But, like, usually I make more than enough, and then they're used in leftovers for the following days, and it's often easier for other people to flavor them the way that they like. I tend to make, like, a large amount of very simple food to make sure that people's nutritional needs get met, and I let other people choose the flavor profiles that they like. It's almost Shabbat here, making chicken a veggie. Who will you be celebrating Shabbat with, Batya? I haven't seen you in so long, Dragonfly. I'm happy to see you too. Such a different atmosphere than we have. I find New York City to be overwhelming. I don't think I can spend more than a day there. I'm going to New York City next on April 18th. I have a surgical consult at Mount Sinai Hospital for facial feminization surgery. So it's scheduled and it's booked, and I'm going to go there, and it's going to be intense. So much activity, so much noise and commotion and money. Your son is home. You get to have Shabbat with your son. That's really great. Chicken and vegetables. Very good. You stream Friday night services for your synagogue. On what platform, Denise? He's in the IDF. Gosh, what kind of work does he do in the IDF? Good morning, Katie. How are you doing? StreamSpot and YouTube. Well, I hope you'll send me a link. I'd love to see what your Shabbat services are like. So, border security. He works on the wall? Ah. Yeah, that's the face. That is the face. I assume he works on the internal border rather than the external border. I mean, I suppose he could work on the border with Syria or with Egypt. But most border security officers work on the apartheid wall. I'm sorry, the language that I use perhaps offends you. I don't want to offend you. Jordan. He works on the border with Jordan. Yeah, borders in your country, they're intense. Saying Kaddish for Raquel Welch. Okay? We can say Kaddish for her. Thanks for bringing that up. I appreciate that. We're gonna read a story. We're gonna read Era and Isham, which is a new myth. I don't know what is in this. I've never read it before. We're gonna read Era and Isham, and then we're gonna say Arati, and then we'll say Kaddish for your friend. How does that sound, Denise? And Katie, thank you for the hand hearts. Hi, Tabitha. How are you? I like your skills, Cowboy Kogan. I respect you and your opinion, Batya. It's all I can do is reflect back, really. Good morning. Schizophrenic, but okay. Wow. That sounds like a lot to handle. I'm glad you're here. Bless you. Bless you, good morning. Here we are, all the friends here together. Welcome. We're about to read a story. Would you like to begin the tale of Era and Isham? Praying for peace. You've been schizophrenic for 2 years. What kinds of things do you do to manage it? I imagine there's quite a range. You're sweet too, Cowboy. Good morning, Alyssa. Good morning, Alanda Veronica. Hi. Hello, good morning. Hi, good morning, good love. So we're going to read this story, Era and Isham, about some ancient gods. And I wish I could tell you what it's about, but I'm coming in blind. But we can assume that it will contain the concept of kingship, and heroism, and maybe some life and death. Meds, but so far there isn't anything I can do. Doctors have their opinions. Yes. Do you speak to a therapist who doesn't prescribe you medication? Someone who can more symbolically help you navigate the landscape in your mind? I don't know what medications for schizophrenia do. I know they do something, but I imagine that a lot of it requires something more sophisticated than chemicals. Not anymore since you left DC. Maybe that would help. Maybe. I don't know. I've been seeing a therapist for the last 4 or 5 months quite intensely. I see her 3 days a week. And it has changed me. Or allowed me to see myself in ways that I did not expect. I don't think people realize how powerful the statement of "I respect your opinion" is. It's a very powerful statement. Often it is challenging to actually enact it, right? I can sit here on the other side of a screen and people can tell me things about their life that is very different than mine, or opinions that they hold that is very different than mine that I'm not connected to. And I can say, I respect your opinion, honestly and truly. But that's often because those opinions don't directly impact me. It's much harder for me to respect the opinions of people that I live with when those opinions have ramifications, right? Those opinions affect the way that I can live my life. Much harder to respect those opinions, even though those are the opinions that are most important for me to respect. It's tricky. Yeah, 3 times a week is intense. Quite intense. You don't have healthcare yet. Health insurance is nasty beast. Thus far, I have made, waiting on Medicaid. Yeah, I'm on Medicaid. I've spent probably at this point 15, 20 hours on the phone with my Medicaid provider, trying to go through the process to get them to cover my facial surgeries. More work yet to come. I'm winning though. So you can get on Medicaid. It is possible, but it requires a kind of systemic fluency in bureaucracy, being able to speak a certain kind of language and devote a certain amount of time to insisting that people do for you what they are legally obligated to do, and understanding what that law is. It's very tricky. What state do you live in now? Because each state is a little bit different. New York is pretty good. I'm lucky. But even then, I have a lot of bullshit to wade through. So, the story of Era and Isham. You had it in Virginia. It's hard to get people to do it down here. You're in Texas. Yeah, Texas is tricky. Texas is very tricky. When did you move? So, the story begins like this. I need a sip of water. Last year. Well, I hope you get the care you need very soon. It's important. So, the story begins thusly. I raise my song for the son of the world's king and creator, of Eliel's heir, Hendur Sanga, who possesses the storing staff, who acts as guide for all peoples and shepherd of the masses, of Isham, the righteous slayer, whose practiced hands wield his menacing weapons and make his terrifying axes gleam. It was when the god's warlord Era was pacing up and down, motivated to engage in warfare. He said to his war weapons, "Cover your faces with lethal poison." To the seventh Sabeti, the matchless war gods, he said, "Take up your armaments." Then to Isham, he said, "Into the wide countryside I will go. As your illumination can be seen, be the light that guides. As the gods march behind you, for you are the fatal sword." So, stand up, Era, and when you conquer the countryside, how ecstatic you will be. How much your heart will rejoice. Yet Era was filled with lethargy, from lack of sleep, saying to himself, "Should I stand, or instead go off to bed?" And then, to his weapons, "Stay there, leaning in the closet." To the seven Sabeti, matchless war gods, he raised his voice and spoke to them, "All of you, return to your dwelling." He doesn't want to fight in the war. Good move, in my opinion. He will remain at peace in bed, sporting with his wife, Mommy. Much better. Why would you go to war when you have a wife to sport with? That is, until such a time as you, Ishum, would go to wake him. For he is called Engidudu, which means night-stalking lord. An example of royalty, bringing life's light to dead of night, who gives guidance to youths and maids, bringing serenity. Far different from this are the Sabeti, the matchless war gods. For their unnatural birth were seen countless dire omens, exhaling deadly breath. Anyone seeing them is seized with fear. Standing frozen in place, people are not able to go any nearer. Thus Isham acts as the gate, standing locked in front of them. Know that when the king of the gods, Anu, seeded the earth, that she bore him these seven gods who were called the Sabeti. And when they took their place before him, Anu set their fates. He called forward the first of them and made this declaration: "Any place you amass and march forth, none will match you." To the second he said, "Kindle like Gera, and scorch like fire." Then to the third he said, "You will take on the aspect of a lion, so that any who see you as such will crouch down in fear." This text is called Era and Isham. It's from a compilation labeled The Descent of Ishtar, but that's just the first story that we read. This is a story about Era and Isham, the hero, the reluctant hero, who wants to sleep and have sex with his wife instead of kill people, which, maybe he should just do that. Maybe it would be better if he didn't kill anyone and he just had sex with his wife and slept well. Maybe the world would be a better place. Probably that's not going to be the moral of the story. The moral of the story is probably going to be he's going to become a great hero and leave his wife alone in her bed. But so it goes. We'll keep reading. Then to the second he said, "Kindle like Gera, and scorch like fire." Then to the third he said, "You will take on an aspect of a lion, so that any who sees you as such will crouch down in fear." Then to the fourth he said, "May even the mountain take flight, when faced by the one who wields your savage weaponry." Then to the fifth, be a gust of wind, and find the sky's edge. Then, to the 6th, trespass high and low, show no mercy. Then to the 7th he imbued with a serpent's deadly poison, and he said to him, you will bring down all living creatures. Then, after Anu had designated the fates of each of the Sabeti, he put them under the command of Era, the god's warlord, and then spoke, saying, may they stride side by side with you. So when the uproar of civilization is more than you can stand, and you feel in the mood to unleash your destructive fury, to strike down some of the people or some of Sakan's cattle, they will be your severe weapons, striding abreast with you. Certainly they were fearsome, weapons raised, saying to Era, stand, raise yourself up. For what reason do you remain here, residing here? What reason do you remain here, residing here within the city limits like an elderly man in his dotage? Why remain safe in your house like a babbling infant? Is our food to be the women's bread? As one who's not gone to war, they're emasculating him. They say if you stay around, you're going to be like a woman eating woman's bread. That would be terrible. Just be absolutely terrible. How could he? Are we to be cowardly and anxious as one with no war scars? I think that the person with war scars tends to be more anxious, but, you know, it might just be me. To march onto the battlefield gladdens like youth's festival, and anyone who remains within the city, even if he is royalty, certainly will not be able to satisfy his hunger on bread alone. He will be maligned and dishonored from his own people's lips. Likewise, he can no longer criticize those who have gone to war. No matter the physical might of him who remains in the city, he will be able to, no matter the physical might of him who remains in the city, will he be able to overcome him who has engaged in warfare? No matter how dainty it might be, that the food that is in the city has no comparison to that which is smoked over an open fire. The most full beer, brewed best, nothing like water from a skin, and the most well-founded edifice no match for the pup tent. O warlord Era, make your way forth onto the field of battle. O warlord Era, go, so that your weaponry will mightily ring. And with that, we will pause, and we will resume again on Monday, and learn about how Era's weapons shame and emasculate him into going to war. Wow. What a story. What a story. How did the people of old think about themselves? How did they think about warfare? How did they think about peace? How does that impact how we think about warfare or we think about peace? What does it mean to protect the border from invasion? I do go live every day, Denise. Every day, basically. Yo, homie! I don't have a landlord, Candela. I live in a complicated legal relationship where I do not own my house, but I also do not pay rent. Lucky me. Thank you for the flowers, Alyssa. It's very sweet. So, now it's time for Arati. The word Arati means flame in Sanskrit. Here we have our little flame. So we will say Arati, and then we will say Kaddish for your friend, Denise. You like me? What do I think of the story? I read these stories because they tell me what at the beginning of history people thought about warfare or gender or the state, right? Like, I find the story to be a little unfortunate, right? Like, you heard my commentary, right? Little BS stories. Yeah, like, I read these stories in part to reject them. Yeah, I'd rather not go to war. I believe that, like, read literally, the moral of the story is that the war god ought to go to war, right? So that he can be valorous. And like there were all of these gods, right? The 7 warrior gods that Ea created at the beginning of time so that they could do violence, right? Like there's an ontology there that like there are certain people, certain forces in the world that were just created to cause destruction. And I do think that is true. Like, I do think that destruction is part of the universe. I think that warfare is part of humanity, right? And, like, I wouldn't be the person that I am today were there not 4,000 years of warfare behind my life, right? Structuring the society that I live in. My mother was a refugee. My grandmother was a refugee, right? Like, these things matter. And, I do think that war is functional. That's a heavy word, right? But I don't think that war is good, but I do think that it serves a function in our society, or at the very least, it has structured it, right? It has shaped it, given people the shapes that they have. It's a certain kind of suffering that we need to understand, if we are to live. You're an army vet, a combat engineer. You have my respect. You have my respect too, Candela. Can you turn off caps lock? Could you do that? Yeah, so like, I don't necessarily condone the morals of the war god era. But I will read about him so that I can understand him. And I think, like, I fixated on that thing where they're like, are you going to be like a woman? No, you need to go to war, right? Because, like, that kind of, like, gender reinforcement is very telling, right? Like, what does it mean that, like, this ancient text, this 4,000-year-old text, explicitly equates going to war with being a man, right? Like, what does that tell us about the way that masculinity manifests in our society? You know. Is it possible for masculinity to exist without being equated with being warlike? I don't know. I wonder. Your eyes are not as good as they used to, so you need to type in caps lock. Okay. It's courageous not to go to war because you're bucking the expectations of your social system? Could be. Yeah. Or you are committing yourself to live a life of poverty. Be oppressed by one political force or be oppressed by another. Choose the one that doesn't require blood. His profile is in all caps as well. That's not true, Tabitha. War is evil on earth. Your maternal grandparents are from Switzerland, and your grandfather had to join the military. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, Switzerland has mandatory conscription. Many small countries do. And large ones. 300,000 Russian teenagers sent to their deaths for a madman's dream. We're no different. Oh, his account. Alright, Tabitha. I'm glad you did reconnaissance. It's important. So, let's say Arati. You did it! You did it! Fighting in the name of God. In the name of nation. In the name of some old history. Misrepresented. Thank you, Alyssa. I appreciate that. This is probably my favorite scarf that I wear. I really like it. So the word Arati means flame. Here's the flame. Let's say the names of some gods. Come in. I'm streaming. What's up? Do you want to print here? Okay. Go ahead. I'm gonna say a prayer. You can print. Yes, this is my version of a tallis, basically. This is my grandfather's tallis. Sometimes I wear this, but I like to be color coordinated. So today was more of a pink day. I'll see you later, Candela. We're gonna say Arati now. So, the word Arati means flame. Jaya Jaya Arati Vina Vinayaka Vina Vinayaka Shri Ganesha Jaya Jaya Arati Subramanya Subramanya Kartikeya Jaya Jaya Arati Venugopala Venugopala Venuola Papa Vidura Navanita Chora Jaya Jaya Arati Venkantaramana Venkantaramana Sankata Harana Sitarama Radhe Shama Jaya Jaya Arati Gauri Manohara Gauri Manohara Bhavani Sankara Sambasada Shiva Uma Maheshwara Jaya Jaya Arati Raja Rajeshwari Raja Rajeshwari Tripura Sundari Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati Mahakali Mahashakti Jaya Jaya Arati Anjaneya Anjaneya Hanumanta Jaya Jaya Arati Dattatreya Dattatreya Trimutriya Vatara Jaya Jaya Arati Adityaya Adityaya Bhaskaraya Jaya Jaya Arati Sanistaraya Sanistaraya Bhaskaraya Jaya Jaya Arati Sankarachaya Sankarachaya Advaita Gravi Jaya Jaya Arati Sadgurunata Sadgurunata Shivananda Jaya Jaya Arati Vishnu Devananda Vishnu Devananda Vishnu Devananda Jaya Jaya Arati Agastya Munaye Agastya Munaye Shriyama Priyaye Jaya Jaya Arati Ayapa Swamine Ayapa Swamine Dharma Shastave Jaya Jaya Arati Jesus Grave Moses Grave Buddha Grave Jaya Jaya Arati Muhammad Grave Guru Nanak Grave Samastya Grubho Namaha Jaya Jaya Arati Venugopala Natatra Bhati Natandrakara Tamnima Vidyobhati Kutaya Magni Twadmeva Bantamadabanti Sarvam Tasya Basya Samitam Vivanti Om Gange Kayamane Kaiva Govari Saraswati Narmade Svikaveri Hiyaha Namastitam Namo Namaha Twameva Mata Chapita Twameva Twameva Bandusha Saka Twameva Vidya Travinam Twameva Varvam Deva Deva Kayena Vacha Manasendriyarva Buddhyatmanava Prakrite Sabhavat Karomyadyad Sakalam Prasmai Narayanaiti Sarmar Payami Sarvadharmam Pravichaya Mimikam Sarvanam Braja Aham Sva Sarvapapayo Mukshayami Masucha. Can I do a prayer for the sick? Sure. I can do that, Denise. Katie, are you on my Discord server? Because I've posted links to full translations of all of the prayers that I say every morning. This one is very simple, right? So like, for example, Jaya Jaya Arati Adityaya, Adityaya Bhaskaraya, right? The translation literally here reads, we wave the light of victory to Adityaya, the sun, and Bhaskaraya, the sun, right? So what this prayer means is basically we repeat the holy name of these various holy characters. We repeat the name of, Sankarachaya, the planet Saturn. We repeat the name of the Divine Mother and the Divine Father, right? You just repeat the names of all of these different gods. And this is given like a particular kind of like American tilt. The reason I pray not in English is because I think that there is more meaning in holy languages than there is in languages of day to day. Like I do think that separation is important. Yeah, prayer is about intention. Any prayer can mean anything, right? Like the Mourner's Kaddish, which we will say, doesn't have any any literal reference to mourning, and yet it has become a prayer for the sick and for the dying. Um, silly, you know. What's silly? You're horrible at using it. You tried a year ago and you were frustrated. You were so frustrated you're on the verge of tears. Oh no. Oh, Katie, I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not for everyone. It has a certain kind of user interface and can be a little tricky to navigate. The powers that be don't let you live safely within your mind. Unfortunately, yeah. Boccia also finds Discord overwhelming. I'm sorry. I suppose I should have a communication channel that is more accessible. But like, I kind of like Discord that it like requires genuine effort to communicate, because it means that I don't have to deal with trolls. There's just trade-offs. You too. Oh, Jada. Tabitha likes Discord. Okay, well, we're 1 to 3. Yeah, I mean, that software changed my life, right? Because, like, during the start of the pandemic, I was so isolated, and I was able to, like, find community in that place, right? Like, have, like, really, very meaningful interactions. Your father-in-law is on the brink of dying. Well, we will say a prayer for him. Yeah, I wish everyone was comfortable with Discord. That would be nice. But I understand that, like, you know, if this is the only reason to use it, it's not going to feel very accessible to you. You made friends, they all end up... I mean, internet friends will ghost you. That's true. I've lost track with some very important internet friends. Don't know where they are. I mean, they're probably exactly where they were before, but they don't talk to me anymore. Friends come and go. Yes, we can pray for your father-in-law, for sure, Denise. But... I don't want to pray to my maker, no. I just want to be what I see. Not just who I am, but the pink and golden land, and that wide, wild sky over me. Help me to the sun. Hey, I'm looking everywhere. See, I'm looking to become not the prayer, but the prayer, and I don't want to pray, no. I don't want to pray, no. I don't want to pray. We don't want to pray. Pray, and it's not much good to talk, better to walk it. Woo, not much good to take, better to give. We are done, forgiven, and forgotten of our sins. And I promise you, my friends, all that dies will live again. So, pardon, God and Mom, what I'm saying isn't fair. See, I'm looking to become not the prayer, but the prayer, and I don't want to pray, no. I don't want to pray, no. I don't want to pray, we don't want to pray. Pray. Allah made love, and Yahweh made hate. Asher made good, and Anat made bad. Eloheinu made love, and Yahweh made hate. Allah, God made. But I don't want to pray to my maker. I just want to be feeling free. Not like in a book, or the leaves of trees that shook from a word that means only not a thing. Hashem. Pardon, God and Mom. What I'm saying isn't fair. See, I'm looking to become not the prayer, but the prayer, and I don't want to pray, no. I don't want to pray, no. I don't want to pray. We don't want to pray. Pray. I love Allah made love, and Yahweh made hate. Asher made good, and Anat made bad. Eloheinu made love, and Yahweh made hate. I love Allah, God made me. Okay. So now we'll say Kaddish. Now we will say a prayer for the dead, a prayer for those who suffer, which is all of us, right? Every single one of us. You cannot live without suffering, right? You cannot live without the capacity for death. And so we have these words, these old words, which originally had nothing to do with suffering, and yet over the years, as people lived their lives and died their deaths, the words evolved. and they came to have these meanings that they have today. And so we say them together for those who we love who are no longer here. I believe the original version of this prayer was in Aramaic. Aramaic, yes. From Aram, the people, the Arameans, the Amorites, all these ancient people. So the meaning of the prayer is warped and evolved and changed, and today it refers to grief. But public grief, specifically, right? You're not supposed to pray unless there's 10 people with you. And you say the words. Has to be collectively done, or it bears no meaning. So we say these words together to remind ourselves that even though we are in pain, even though loved ones get lost, that we are still here, and we can see each other, and we can be there. So we'll say Kaddish. Here you are. Hi, Sarah. Hi. Hello, Emma. So we'll say Kaddish. And then we will conclude for Sabbath, for Shabbat. And I will see you on Monday. So, for the last 2,500 years, I miss you too, Sarah. I'm glad you've been seeing your family. A good internet connection is not the only thing that is valuable in the world, you know. So we'll say Kaddish and then we will conclude. Remember all those who have passed. For the last 2,500 years, my ancestors have said these words in response to death. I like you too, Denise. Yid Kadal, Vid Kadash, Shema Rabba. V'yama divrachyote v'yamlich mal choted b'chayachonu v'yomechonu chayed kol beit Israel b'gala v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei Shema Rabba meva'arach li'olam olmei olmaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yirman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shema dekudesha b'richu leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata diamiran v'yama v'imru. Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yachol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imramav Huya aseh shalom aleinu v'yachol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imramav Huya aseh shalom aleinu v'yachol Yisrael v'imru v'imru. Amen. The words are emotion. That's what they are, right? The meaning is not the meaning is in the feeling. So we say them with emotion. Thank you. I'll be here again. Very soon. We'll do it all over again. Every day. So, next Friday, I'm leading a panel with a bunch of science communication TikTokers. There's a video, my most recent video that I posted has a link to a Zoom room that will be live from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time next Friday. So you can come to that panel and chat about what it's like to make science content on the internet. I also just published a seed-saving documentary, so you can check out the link in my bio for that. Yeah, let's chat on Discord. Let's hang out. I'm so happy that you're in my life. So incredibly lucky. Yeah, and I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I will see you all on Monday, okay?